All right, everyone. I'm welcomed today by Dilano, the Postman Taylor, PFL fighter and Titan FC, former champion. It's great to have you here, Dilano, today. Everything going well?
Yes, sir. Everything's going great. How about yourself?
Going good for me. Going good. Keeping busy with the card this weekend and everything.
That's all I like to hear.
So I actually wanted to talk about Killcliff FC a bit. You know, you train there a lot. You talk about all the amazing fighters that you could train with there. But you tell me, what fighters that you train with have made the biggest impact on your career?
Fighters that I've trained with that has made the biggest impact in my career, I would say, are Jason Jackson, number one, Impa Kasanganai, um, Gilbert Burns, Landon Quinones. Like these are like some of the main guys that I train with the most.
Yeah.
Even Michael Johnson. Yeah, those guys have made pretty big impact on. I feel how I train. I feel.
Yeah, I mean you make pretty big impacts on those guys too. I know you were training a lot. Like you were the main guy that Gilbert used to emulate Neal Magny for his upcoming fight.
Yeah,
I know that was a
yeah.
big thing. I was
Yeah.
I was what's it? I picked Gilbert for that fight anyways, but knowing he had someone like you in the gym that could really just emulate what Magny is like in the cage, I knew he was gonna be
Yeah.
be a clear winner in that fight.
Yeah.
So you're Jamaican, you know, you're big on your culture and everything. You were the first generation born here in the US. Tell me more about how growing up here with that culture has shaped you into what you are today.
Um, Growing up here with that culture, uh, man, it really like put into perspective everything that I seen growing up because the culture in the US is different from the culture in Jamaica. Like you don't just it's not everything is not as easily accessible,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. And then the household I grew up in, that was also like a thing. Like nothing was easily accessible. You just had to
Okay.
make what you have work,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you could go get a cheeseburger for 99 cents at McDonald's. That's
I could
not
walk
like a
down the
thing.
street. Yep.
Yeah, that's not a thing. That's not a thing in
Hmm.
Jamaica, it was very much an evident thing, not in my household. Like growing up, food we ate was different. How how my parents, well, mainly my mom, how my mom talked to me was different versus how I seen other kids talk to their mom, or
Okay.
like little things, little things. It's
Okay.
just like huge, but it made a world of a difference for me mentally because it I feel like it kind of calloused my mind and my approach to how I approach people.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
great. I really like that. I don't know how to say it, but I agree with what you mean. I feel like my relationship with my mom is like different in a way as well. Like just like
yeah,
slightly
yeah,
different, not in that same way that you obviously, but I kind of get what you mean. It does like shape you into a different person in a way and just I
yeah,
feel different because of that. I know what you mean.
yeah.
So you were a criminal justice major at FAU. Tell me more about
Sure,
that. And do you think you'd be doing that right now if you weren't fighting?
man. Probably,
Okay.
probably, maybe. I don't know. I got 2 degrees actually, criminology and sociology.
Okay.
But I mainly went there. I mainly went to college, of course, to appease my mom, give her like a backup plan or whatever. I
Yeah,
told her fighting was the backup plan, but in my mind, I already knew
you already
everything else
knew.
was the backup plan. Yeah, but for me, going to college wasn't even like it wasn't even like a plan, like the backup plan. It was more so like doing it because nobody else in my family did it.
Yeah.
Like
You know
more
what I mean?
so like setting the trend, setting a tone. Like if I can go to college, go train, and then go work a job, why can't you do it?
Yeah.
Like why do these things have to be limited to accessibility? Because realistically speaking, I wasn't accessible to any of these things. I
No.
kind of had to work to get to where I wanted to go. Like going to college, that was me grinding in high school to get a scholarship to go. Like
Yeah.
that came from me. Everything that
Well, like you
college
said, you
came
didn't
from
get a
me.
lot in your household. You didn't grow up getting like a lot of
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
you had to work for that. You had to work for your college.
exactly.
You had to work for everything.
Exactly. And I feel like that approach right there made my mind even harder and sharper than it could have ever been because knowing that I did that put me in a different mindset where I just know like I'm not a quitter. There's no quit in my heart or my mind.
Yeah.
So going to college was more so to set a tone for my brothers and
Hmm.
my future family, like showing them like, yo, if I do it, you can definitely do it. And if you choose not to do it, then you need to figure out something else
Yeah,
that you
have
want to do,
something. Yeah.
like have something, like figure it out.
How does it feel being like an inspiration for your brothers? Because I've seen like, the videos of them talking about you. Your little brother looks up to you. He loves you. Just tell me how it is, like how it feels being an inspiration for them.
Um, I couldn't tell you that it feels like a specific way because I feel like I'm still going on my own personal journey, my own personal growth. Like I feel like I haven't really had time to drastically bask in the things that I've accomplished because I feel like I haven't accomplished anything yet. I haven't done anything yet.
Okay.
Like I'm still pretty young to the sport, even though I've been around for quite some time, but people haven't known me for that long. So I'm
Yeah.
very much still young. So I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But for my brothers, like it's just nice to know that what I'm doing, even if they're not paying attention to it now, it's subconsciously getting into them some way, shape, form, or fashion. Like eventually they're gonna pick up on it, and eventually they're gonna just get it on their own, and they're not gonna second guess or think too hard about it because I've been putting the tools and
Mhm.
I've been giving them the tools for such a long time.
I mean, your work ethic is honestly unmatched. It is it's something I admire. Definitely. I see it on social media. I've seen it everywhere. Your work ethic is amazing. And it's really something that it sets the tone, like you said, for the future generations, for your brothers,
Yeah,
for everyone. It sets that tone of, when you see what you're doing, you have to match that. You have to be better than what you are, because you are that
mm-hmm.
that trendsetter as of now. You really are. And you're, like you said, you're still going up. You still have a lot of time left.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you're still a little bit new into this. You just hit 4 years as a pro. I think it was in February, I want to say, last month.
Yes,
Would
yes,
you say you've exceeded expectations so far based on where you expected you'd be 4 years into your pro career?
yes. Actually,
Okay.
um, I mean, I would have probably liked to have been where I was at sooner,
Hmm.
but life, COVID, things kind of force you to
Yeah, COVID
hold back.
especially.
I expected to be where I was at last year, a year ahead,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it kind of, I mean, life happens. Like it kind of forces you to come back and really take time to develop more. Everything happens for a reason. God's plan.
Yeah.
Um, so I just had to really put in my mind that it's God's plan, but it's my will. So I have the will to keep pushing forward and keep working, or I can just sit back on the sidelines and wait for something to happen for me. So I just figured just keep working, keep developing my craft, and eventually what I need and what I want will come forth towards me.
Yeah. So like you were saying about like God's plan and everything, you use religion a lot. Like I always see like in your captions and stuff, like you're very big into using religion. Tell me how you use that in order to like hype yourself up for fights in a way. Like how do you like use religion and like to translate it to fighting?
So for me, right, I feel like, and this is like a topic of debate for a lot of people,
Hmm.
but when it comes to religion, when it comes to belief, it's really the idea of there being a higher power. People
Hmm.
can talk about being Muslim, people can talk about being Christian, Catholic, whatever it is you may be. I feel like it doesn't matter as long as you put in your mind that for me is like I believe certain beliefs, and I
Hmm.
believe that there are certain things that are just right, and there are certain things that are wrong. And I feel like even with religion, there isn't a set religion that can just have everything 100% right, and
No,
there isn't a set religion that has everything 100% wrong. And
never.
I feel like that same concept applies to life, where you can just kind of pick and choose and take little things and build your own moral code or moral compass. And it's kind of similar to like martial arts. Like
Yeah.
in mixed martial arts, you're not going to just be a strict jujitsu fighter. That's like 1990s MMA, or you're not going to be a strict kickboxer. That's like 1990s MMA. You're going to want to be the guy
Yeah.
who can mix it up. You want to be the guy who's consistently learning and consistently growing and understanding that with the times changing, you also have to change as a person to be a better person. So
Never.
with religion for me, it's like my belief system, what I believe in. I would never force that on anybody.
Hmm.
But what I believe is what I feel like the things that I've seen and the things that I can tangibly see and the things that I've consistently done, even if I couldn't tangibly see it, where I know that over time it's going to come to fruition the way I want it to come to fruition. Like my religion or my belief system is what really keeps me locked in, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. It keeps me
Oh, 100%.
in that mindset of I'm willing to do what I have to do and do what it takes to get to where I want to go without any question. There's no question in my mind that I can't get there, you know?
No, I 100% understand. You need that belief system to carry you through life. I was talking about this with my friends the other day. You need some kind of belief system in order to move
Yeah.
through life, in order to want to progress, in order to want something more for yourself. You need a belief system to
Mm-hmm.
believe that there's always going to be more. You need
Stand for
to
something to fall for anything, you know?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what was your reaction to Mark Martin's eye in that fight? Because that was like I saw in the cage, you turned around immediately and you were talking to your coach. I don't know if that was because you were just talking to your coach after the fight, or you did not want to look in his direction and see his eye, but that was brutal.
I remember I remember in that fight, uh I remember in that fight thinking, damn man, that was a really close round. I can't believe I didn't get the takedown in the last round after
Mhm.
like I fucking hit him so hard. And I remember when he turned around and I seen his face, I'm like, oh fuck. And then I was just thinking to myself, are they gonna let this keep going? I mean, it's not a problem if they do, but I would hate to have to fight him like that.
Yeah.
Like just me as a
Oh yeah.
human, just me as a human. Like I feel like that's so much damage right there. I mean, if he's willing to fight and they're willing to let him fight, cool, we'll fight,
Yeah,
no
like
problem.
it's
But then it becomes like in my mind, like, okay, so you really think you can beat me like that? Like it becomes more of like a ego thing, almost like you really believe like you can beat me like that.
and
Then all
also
right, cool,
like
cool, that's fine.
in terms of like the damage, like you're worried about like blinding the guy at that point. Like it's like if I hit him
I
in that eye
mean,
again, it's like
he's actually he can't fight anymore.
he can't.
No,
I actually didn't know.
yeah, he can't fight
Mhm.
anymore. Actually, unfortunately, um,
Was it partial
his
blindness or
eye
did he go fully blind?
it's like partial blindness.
Hmm.
He mentioned in like a post that I seen a couple months ago. I felt bad, but I mean, I understand like that's the
It's the
rules of the
no,
game.
it's
Like
the fight game. I mean, you didn't do
it's a fight
anything.
game. Like
Like you
I didn't
landed the
break the
one
rules.
punch.
I didn't break the rules. I didn't, I did everything to the T. So it's like
Mhm.
I feel bad still because it's like I don't know. I feel like it's playing with people's money. It's playing with people's
Yeah.
careers. It's playing with people's, like love for the sport. But I feel like, I mean, shit happens, but then you always can always find like another way or method within the sport to still stay in the sport, you know?
Hmm. But like
And
you
I
said,
messaged
God's
him. I
plan.
messaged him and everything. Yeah, I messaged him and everything. Like I'm, of course, very respectful and told him how I felt or great fight and everything like that. But yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Do you normally watch tape on your opponents?
Actually, I watched zero tape on my opponent
I was wondering because you always step in on short notice, always. I mean, so I
because
was
there's no reason for me to watch tape on them. Like,
yeah. So
like the only thing that I feel like I need for a fight is an idea. Give me an idea, give me a concept of how they fight. And I don't even watch the footage anymore. I just kind of like let my coaches tell me like what's the concept. Like if it's on short notice, I know for a fact that I'm gonna beat you,
okay.
especially if it's on short notice because now it's 100% equal playing field. You couldn't watch any footage on me. I couldn't watch any footage on you, but I know for a fact that I'm really good at adapting on the fly. And I know
Okay.
for a fact that my style is very confusing and very difficult to deal with on the fly. Like even guys that I've lost to, like for instance Magomed and
Mhm.
Magomed on short notice, he
Yes.
respected my skill. He respected my ability. He understood like I am a threat. Like he's seen
Yeah.
it. He recognized it. Like it wasn't any doubt in his mind. Um, Even Sy when I fought Sy, he understood. He's seen it.
I
He
mean,
felt it.
of course,
Like
yes.
yeah. So it's like and that was with me knowing who I had to fight. Like he knew. He's seen it. But I feel like with the fight game, people put too much energy in watching a person's fight to where they kind of disregard the way that they need to fight. They
Hmm.
kind of, oh, he's a wrestler, so what I'm going to do is not engage in wrestling, and I'm only going to strike him from the outside. And sometimes that game plan is fucked because now you go into a fight and you forget 50% of the tools that you need to use for a fight. It's a
Yeah.
fight. But like versus I go out there, no pressure. My mind isn't thinking about this person. He has no free rent space in my head. I can go out there and just perform to the best of my abilities, better than the best of my abilities, and use the tools that I have and know that I'll come out on top in some way, form, or fashion because there's nothing that you can show me that I haven't seen. There's nothing that you can do to me that I haven't seen. And at the end of the day, it's a fight. So like you throw some spinning back shit or some crazy shit, then it's like, oh, like cool, whatever. But
We saw that recently with Brendan Allen. I mean, it was going into the fight with Andre Muniz. Everyone said like, Allen's going to win on the feet, but he can't really go to the ground with Muniz. And then he was talking before the fight, like, I'll go to the ground with Muniz. I don't have a problem with that. And people were like, oh, like, and then you saw he went in there sharp in all areas and ended up finishing Muniz on the ground in his area.
He had no
fight.
See with Brendan, like I was I helped him a little bit for the camp because I trained with Brendan.
Yes, I know.
And I grappled a lot with him too, actually, for that fight. Not that much, not as much as Tuco or anything like that, but we grappled. And Brendan is really good at scrambling. Brendan's jiu-jitsu is really good. Like, he's a black belt. Like, he's legit. I would say he's legit. And I feel like you shouldn't count anybody out in MMA. Like, I don't count anybody's. I feel like if you're gonna step in this cage at the highest level, I'm not counting you out. There's no reason for me to count you out because you're a threat. You're dangerous. Like, there's no reason they would just toss you in here to just toss you in here. Unless of course they're trying to build you, throw a bunch of cans at you, but there's no reason for it.
When that happens, though, you can tell when that's happening.
You can tell.
That wasn't what was happening. No,
that's not what was happening.
Brendan's never been in a situation where he's being thrown to anyone.
That was not the situation. So it was like, I mean, that didn't surprise me that he finished them with the sub. Like, that's his highest percentage sub in the UFC thus far. Like, I mean, he subbed like 3 or 4 dudes with a rear naked choke.
Yeah,
come on, like people really underestimate, like,
I mean, just sub Jocko with the rear naked choke. I mean,
the simplicity of jiu-jitsu, bro. He submitted, I believe, Kevin Holland with a rear naked choke too. Like,
yes, he did.
Like, bro, people underestimate the simplicity of just being fundamental with your abilities and your skills and jiu-jitsu, like
just being well-rounded in all areas, really.
Like you don't know what this guy's gonna throw at you. You don't know.
You never know.
So it doesn't matter. Just go out there and fight until your heart is filled, and continue to fight until the bell is done, and that's it. And where the cards may fall, but you went out there and you left it all out there. Like, there's no hesitation. There was nothing in your mind that was like, fuck, man, I should have did this, I should have did that. Like, no, like, you're just a better man that day, and that's fine.
So speaking on that, I mean, like, your mentality after the loss to Magomed was obviously amazing because you went out there and killed Rory in the next fight. I mean, that was amazing, an amazing performance out there. So I just wanted to ask, like, like, how did you handle that loss to Magomed mentally, and like, how were you able to just bounce back so well?
My loss to Magomed was it was interesting to me because I feel like the fight could have kept going. Like, I've been hurt way worse in a fight. I was, of course, rocked, but everybody gets rocked in a fight. Like, I just need a little bit of time. It's not like I turned away or shied away. Like, my hands were up. I never fell to, like, he pulled me down to the floor, but it wasn't with a shot. Like, he snapped me down to the floor and I stood right back up. I was in his face. Like, I never not once just looked like I was trying to quit the fight. And he just threw a flurry of punches. And I remember only like two within that flurry actually landed, but nothing was like super damaging. And the ref just jumped in to stop the fight. Not trying to take away what Magomed is good at or what he has accomplished in sport, but I felt like, me personally, I could have fought more, could have done more. For me, in my head, it was like, cool, I just lost to basically the 2-time former champ. Like, like, he's probably top 5 in the world technically. Like, he's probably top 5.
He's so underrated
across the board. Yeah, he's probably top 5 in the world across the board. But so knowing that in my mind, it's like, all right, cool. I just went against the top 5 across the board in the world, and I lost to him on a short notice fight that I took on a day's notice. Okay, cool. All right. So what does that put me? Where does that place me in my mind? Like, all right, cool. Did I get like completely dominated? No. Did he outskill me? No. He just freaking caught me with a punch, and I was dazed, and that was it. Like, it wasn't even like he set up a technical knockout or anything like that. He just said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna."
It's kind of one of those out of nowhere shots. It was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna throw hard shots, and that's what he did. And it wasn't even like he set it up or anything like that. It wasn't like, no, he didn't outclass me. He did hit me. He hit me hard. That's fine. That's fine. Anybody can get caught in the fight. It's normal. It's a freaking fight game. Like, shit happens like that. Like, for instance, Impa and Buckley. Impa was beating his ass, and Buckley just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go for broke." A kick, and then did another kick behind it. And that was it. It wasn't like he got dominated that fight. It was just like, he caught him with some dumb shit. Now look at Buckley in the UFC. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's whatever. It's like, for me mentally, it's like, I feel like unless you put me out cold, you didn't beat me. He
Okay.
didn't put me out cold. Even and I have another TKO loss, and he didn't put me out cold. The ref just jumped in to stop the fight then too. Like it's not like I turned away or shied away. The ref just fucking stopped the fight. Like these guys didn't put me out cold. Like no. Psy, like shit like that.
So I wanted to ask you about that loss. What were your feelings about that fight and just that everything in general? I mean, it was obviously not the best fight. It was slower, but I mean, it was just you both respected each other a lot. It was obvious, and I don't know. It was just not necessarily like what I expected. I guess going in, I just expected like a little more like action out of both of you, and it was just a little more like slow and like reading each other out. Like, just tell me about it a little bit.
I remember the fight with Psy. I felt like well for one thing, I went into the fight knowing Psy was gonna run because he's a runner. That's what he did. That's literally how he gets to the finals. He
Yeah.
ran against everybody and just popped shots. That's literally all
Mhm.
he did. He did it to Rory. He did it to Carlos Leal. He did it to uh, the other
Everyone
Russian
he's
guy
fought.
he fought first. Everyone he's
Everyone he's
fought.
fought.
He fought the same way. Like he's a runner. Like he'll pop shots and step out and pop shots and run away and pop shots and defend a takedown and like he knows how to play the rules of the game.
Yes.
I feel like me going in there knowing that was maybe a bit too much because I just should have went out there and just said, fuck it, let me just fight him. And I noticed that after the first round, he started to slow down. He got even slower than he was in the first round. And then the third round, he got even slower. In the fourth round, he got even slower. And I remember thinking in that fight is like, there's no way that I'm not edging him out with like the shots that I'm throwing or the attacks that I'm coming at him forward with. He only threw like a couple body kicks. He threw a couple jabs. They didn't even all land. He threw a few leg kicks, but they didn't all land. And I just remember his power wasn't there. So it's just like, okay, cool. There's nothing for me to really 100% respect. But I should have just respected it to begin with. Like I should have let him touch me.
Mhm.
I just thought it was weird that they were counting the strikes that he threw that I blocked, and they were counting those because that's normally you don't count block shots. And a lot of the shots he threw were blocked. Like it wasn't even like anything hit me flush, anything hit me clean. It was just all block shots.
That's
But the
definitely a
shit that
thing that
I
happens.
yeah, but the shit that I hit him with was a lot cleaner, actually hurt him, and actually caused more damage because his face was a little bit more busted up than anything else. His face was more busted up in that fight than anything else. I wasn't even hurt. Like of course, like I fought 5 rounds, so my legs were fucking sore. But that's normal. But I remember my takeaway from that fight at least is I should have just let everything go more.
Mhm.
And I shouldn't have overthought the person that I was fighting. And this is why like I don't watch film because it's like you never know what person's gonna show up. And in most cases, the same person shows up. So just go out there and just fight them to win, and just leave everything out there. Like there's nothing else for me to do. Like, and I'm telling you, like in most cases, you just go out there and just fight your fight. You're not stressed. You don't hesitate. You just go for it. And I feel like this season, that's going to be one thing that I implement and I really consistently show. Like I'm going to go out there. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to beat your ass.
All right. So there is confirmation like you are coming back this season, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Good. Good. I was looking for the confirmation. I really couldn't find it anywhere that you were
yeah,
100% coming back. They haven't announced the welterweight fights yet.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm coming back.
uh, good. Good. I was very much hoping to see you come back. Do you have any idea who you're fighting yet, or is that still in the works?
Nah, but it doesn't matter. I never
Okay.
did. They could tell me the freaking day before who
But
I'm having. I
you're
don't care.
like in the roster, right? Like you're in the welterweight
Yes,
division. Like you're
yes.
not you're
Now,
not an
now,
alternate. Yeah.
now, yeah. Now I'm in the roster. Yeah, I'm not
Okay. Yeah,
alternate.
you better be.
Now I'm
You
in the
better
roster.
be. Okay.
Yeah,
Good. Good.
now I'm in the roster. They
So
should know that.
I don't know if he'll be on the roster too. I know he just earned a contract, but a former opponent of yours, Dad Gene, who
Yeah,
actually beat you and as an amateur, um, got a PFL contract at welterweight this season. Is that a fight you're looking to run back at some point soon?
yeah,
You also just beat your teammate as well, so I know that,
yeah,
that
yeah. He beat
you have the
her. Yeah,
vengeance there to get.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's just like whatever. Like it's the fight game. I understand how this goes. If I see him, cool. I see him, but I'm not looking for him. I'm not chasing
Okay,
him. Like I'm not chasing anybody. Like they can come see me.
gotcha.
I'm gonna be right here. They can come see me. I'm gonna be right here.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm
yeah, you were
saying?
the
Like,
one that was just in the championship, so
yeah, bro. They can come see me. I'm right here. I'm not hesitating. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. Like, if you want to come see me, come see me. If you want to come duck me, then by all means, I respect it. Do your thing. But I'm not ducking nobody. I'm not hiding from nobody. I've never been hiding from anybody. I'm ready to go whenever.
what was a way that you were able to like I don't know if this makes sense because you just said you didn't watch film, so it kind of makes this question weird now. But did you see something in Rory's game that made that right hand open? Because the way you threw that right hand consistently and the way you were like almost like parrying like the one punch and then throwing the right hand, like I don't know. It seemed like you knew exactly how to knock Rory out. Am I right?
Nah, it was just the way I was watching him throw his jab.
Okay.
Like in the fight, the way I was watching him throw
Yeah.
his jab in the fight. Like I make pretty fast reads. So not many people recognize that about my style either, is that like I make really fast reads, but it's fine. They don't need to. But with Rory, he was doing this thing with his jab and he wasn't really sticking his jab. He was kind of just popping it to like almost keep it in my face just so I wouldn't see what he was gonna do. And I remember when I watched him fight Sy, also a couple other fights prior. I watched the fight because I was there. I was there live, so I watched
Yeah.
the fight. And I remember he just kind of like popped the jab just to shoot a single. And that's what he did to me. Like he just popped the jab just to shoot a single on me. He tried to go single to double. Whether he got the single, it didn't matter. He just wanted to get a double. But he kept popping his jab just like that. He never stuck anything. He never tried to make me make me worried about the power.
Yeah.
That makes sense. He just
No,
kind of
no.
like
He was just kind of
he just
throwing it
kind of
out.
like
Yeah.
yeah. And when I seen that, I was like, okay, I know. All right, that I don't really have to worry about his jab.
Yeah, I
I
can
know
eat the
exactly what
jab
to
to
do.
throw something bigger. Yeah.
I know exactly what I need to do. Yeah. I mean, granted, I wasn't trying to get hit with anything, but
No, yeah.
still, like I knew exactly what I needed to do. But I seen it mainly in the fight. Like I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay. He threw 3 jabs, but none of them were like with violent
Yeah, he
intent.
didn't sit
Like it
down
was
on
just
any of them.
I was just kind of just throwing. So I was like, all right, bet my turn. You know?
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful knockout. I was very, very impressed. I was telling my friends about you because I was very impressed from the Zeffirino fight. And we
Yeah.
watched that one live, and I remember telling them about you, and it was like, oh my God, he sparked Rory. Like, what just happened? Because Rory hadn't been knocked out in a while. I mean, that was the thing. Like, Rory had been losing a little bit. That, like, he wasn't the same
But he hadn't
Rory.
been knocked out ever in his career. Yeah.
Never knocked out. That was the one thing you took that from him. You took his chin. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. What are your predictions for Gane versus Jones this weekend?
Man, that's tough, but it's not really tough, Jones, obviously. It's like how can you
How do
bet
you,
against a man
how
who
do you think he
hasn't
gets it done?
uh I think Jones can honestly, I think Jones will probably wrestle fuck him and then beat him up ground and pound.
That's
That's what
what
I think. I mean, Francis literally gave everybody the blueprint how to beat Gane. Not to say that there's no way that Gane hasn't improved in his wrestling, but to fight a guy like John Jones who is like the Floyd Mayweather of MMA, like
yeah.
John Jones is like the master of adapting. And I remember in an interview he had recently, he's like, I always watch film on all my opponents. That's why I don't take short notice fights. But people
Mhm.
forget, like John Jones took mad short notice fights early in his career.
Early in
Like,
his career, yeah.
yeah, like he fought Gustafsson on a day's notice, and prior to that, he said he was drinking, doing fucking coke, and all types of crazy shit. And it took the fight, and then he beat him. You
And
know,
even
like
earlier than that, he was fighting like once every 2 months, like in his like early professional career. He was fighting
yeah,
constantly. He
bro.
was definitely taking short
Yeah,
notice
bro. And
fights.
it's not like they had crazy film on these guys like that. Like, no,
No.
like he was definitely fighting these dudes off of word of mouth. So it's like
Mhm.
for him to say he doesn't watch film, he watches film, like he doesn't take short notice fights is like cap, I
It's
feel.
just I feel
Because
like that's just now. Like that's his like feeling
yeah,
now.
that's probably his
Yeah.
feeling now. And I feel like that's more so because he's getting older. He wants to
Yeah.
fight smarter. He wants to be more precise with how he
He
beats
wants to
guys.
win. He wants to protect that record.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a winning thing for him. I think it's more like a dominating thing for him. Because when people hear about John Jones, they don't just think about or talk about him winning. They talk about him and how dominant he's been. If that makes sense. So like they don't say, "Oh man, John Jones was such and such and such." They're like, "Oh man, he's such a dominant champion. He's been so dominant against these guys because that's his thing. Like
Yeah.
his whole objective is just to dominate these guys, win or lose. He wants to dominate these guys, and that's fine. That's how you should be. That's how the game plan. That's how the game plan should be. You know."
Yeah, he just wants to prove he's miles better than everyone that steps into the cage with him, which
Yeah,
he
that's what he
has,
does.
except for those last 2 fights, he didn't look as good as he could have. I mean, don't get
His
me
last
wrong.
2 fights, what? was what,
Reyes
Anthony
and
Smith.
Santos. Reyes and
I,
Santos.
I
He
mean,
killed Anthony Smith, but
yeah. I mean, Reyes and Santos is like,
they just weren't the best performances on his end. Like he didn't dominate them the way he dominates everyone. I mean, like he just
yeah. Like Reyes and
that way.
Santos, like he kind of wanted to like. It looked like for me outside looking in,
Mhm.
and I feel like people are just so in love with how he finishes guys. Like they don't recognize that like it's more to it than just finishing these guys like
Yeah.
initially because he's a fighter. Like he wants to fight the most ethical, smart fight without taking the most amount of damage, or while taking the least amount of damage and inflicting the most amount of damage.
No, of
And I
course.
mean, look at how both of those fights went. Reyes was damaged so bad within that fight. I feel also look at his record now since he's fought John Jones. Look at Santos. Look at Santos now since he's fought John Jones. It's not even like the fights were even close. They weren't even close. They
Okay.
weren't even close fights, I feel. And now Santos is in PFL. He
Yeah.
looks way worse. He looks way worse now than he did when he fought in the UFC.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
not fighting wise, but like size wise, body wise, physique wise. Like he looks completely different. He just looks like almost like an out of shape boxer. I guess he went up to heavyweight, but it's
no, he
still
didn't.
weird.
He's at light heavyweight.
Yeah, he looks different, bro. He looks way different. He doesn't look
Really?
like he cares. He doesn't look like he cares
I mean,
about the
you
physique
know a lot
anymore.
better than
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. He doesn't look like he cares about the physique. Like you can tell. You can tell. Like when the fighters on the tail end, they tend to look like that.
I mean, let me like not to shit on him. I love Thiago. He's a great fighter, but he is probably getting paid a good amount of money to come to the PFL.
Bro, he's
He
probably
doesn't
getting paid
even
more money than he was in the UFC.
he probably doesn't even need to win that $1 million to make $1 million fighting in the PFL. He needs to fight probably, I mean, you know better than me, but what, 3, 4 times, maybe 3, 4,
Shit,
five
probably
times, and he'd
probably
probably make that
two,
million.
3 times, and he'll make a million
2, 3. There you
in
go.
1 year. Yeah,
Yeah. That's my point. Is like he's not even fighting in the PFL to win that $1 million tournament. He's just fighting in the PFL to make a million fighting 3 times in a year at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are.
And the
So I
thing
mean,
is, like,
I don't blame him.
don't get me wrong, like he still has talent. He's still Thiago
Yeah, he's
Santos.
dangerous. He's very
Yes,
dangerous.
but
Yeah,
at the same time, he's not hungry. He's not like I said, he's not there to win that million. So some of these guys that are hungry at that division are probably really gonna like they might get the better of him, even though he's more skilled and he is the better guy. They might just get the better because they just have the drive that he just
exactly. That he
have
doesn't have
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Just like
Mhm.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
What's it? Talk to me about Gamrot and Turner. Who do you think wins that one?
Jalen Turner.
Okay. Okay.
Gamrot was exposed that he can't strike. Um, but we already knew he couldn't strike. He's a wrestler. He's a scrambler. He's not really a wrestler. He's more scrambly than anything else. And I
Yes.
think Jalen Turner, people underestimate the fact that he's realistically speaking a welterweight fighting at lightweight.
I always say
But
this. I mean, my friends
well,
always talk about. You know who I feel horrible for? Josh Coolabou. Josh Coolabou, who was a featherweight, who moved up to lightweight on short notice to fight Jalen Turner, who's basically a welterweight. So
yes, he's a
now
freaking
Coolabou is undefeated at featherweight in the UFC. So you look at it, he basically is like a featherweight that fought a welterweight in his debut. He just got such a short
he
end
just
of.
got a shitty yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly, right. But yeah, Jalen Turner has the striking, he has the grappling. Jalen Turner is very well rounded.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing is Jalen Turner also had a I don't know. He fought Vicente his first fight in the UFC or second fight in the UFC and got
First, I think
finished.
it was.
And Vicente is no easy. He's no slouch. Like it makes sense. You know?
I'm not gonna lie. So I was right after I had gotten into MMA and watching the UFC and everything. And I watched
Yeah.
that card and I watched Jalen Turner get finished by Vicente. And I had heard like all these good people talking about the potential and the this and the that. But I was brand new. I was very casual at the time. So I saw his record and I saw him get finished by Luque. And I was like, why are people talking about Jalen Turner like he's like so good? I was like,
People
why
don't
do people
recognize that he went up. He went up to go fight
I
him
was
to
like
get
I
into
was just
UFC.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I was just like, why are people talking about like Jalen Turner like he's just this big thing? And then now, like obviously being a fan, I know Jalen Turner is one of the most
It's
dangerous
good,
fighters in
bro.
the world. But
It's really good. It's really good.
Mhm. Definitely, Valentina and Grasso. Do I even have to ask for that prediction?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not really Valentina for sure. But for me, like with women's MMA, I only watch like 5 women who fight.
Okay.
like 5.
Okay.
Like so that's like if it's not Rose, Whaley, Valentina, Nunes, or there's one more. There's one more. There's one more. The fake Brazilian, Mackenzie Dern.
Mackenzie.
Yeah,
The fake Brazilian.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. That's great. Okay. What about Jeff Neal and Shavkat? I'm interested to think.
Shopcott.
Okay.
Shopcott.
How do you
I'm
think
not even,
you think he finishes, Jeff?
I think he can finish Jeff on the feet, but I'm not gonna sleep on Jeff because Jeff just had a really good performance over Vicente,
Mhm.
and he made Vicente look relatively easy for him.
Yeah, he did.
Relatively easy. Like, and I train with Vicente, so I know like Vicente's no slouch, but Jeff really he put it together very
Yeah.
well.
You know, he definitely did. I also wanted to say congratulations on getting your black belt. I saw you just
Oh,
recently
appreciate it.
got that. Of
I
course, of
appreciate it.
course. How was how was it working towards that? Was it like obviously it was hard, but you know, like how was just the grind finally getting it, like, you know, finally, you know, reaching like, you know, the
A
top of the
milestone.
top level.
Uh, I don't know. Feeling like I just got my black belt, but I feel like I didn't learn anything until I got my black belt.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like,
Okay.
I didn't feel. I felt like, oh man, I know so many things, and then when I get my black belt, I'm like, yo, I don't know anything. Like, I don't know a thing, and I feel like my jujitsu has gotten significantly better the minute I accepted that I don't know anything, and really took a step back and really reassessed my game, and it made everything so much sharper.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is you got your black belt and thought like, oh yeah, I'm a black belt. And then you learned like, oh, like
Yeah,
this is what a
yeah,
black belt is.
cause
Like,
like yeah, cause like I've trained with black belts, I've beaten black belts, you
yeah.
know, like oh yeah, I beat that black belt, I beat that black belt, I beat this high level black belt, well, whatever, cool, cool, cool. But like to really be a black belt, it's just more about like it's more than just the belt,
Yeah.
you know, like it's like a whole mindset thing. It's like a whole the way you perceive things now, how you see things. It's different. Like your mind gets kind of locked into certain things, and I feel like that translated into how I perform with MMA too.
That's great. That definitely makes sense. All right. Well, thank you for everything. I just wanted to say, like, I really appreciate this. You know, it's amazing getting you on here and being able to talk to you. I
Anytime,
wish you luck in
anytime.
the future, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Hopefully, of
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Yeah,
course.
anytime, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.